Oh dear, there's another claim against the city. Greetings everyone, this is the Gardening Snail of Livingston, California. I've been city council watching since at least 2007, and I've seen a few things. But it's an election year this year, so things might get stranger than they already are. If you like what I do here, please hit the red subscribe button under this video. It feeds the algorithm. And hit the bell notification for future videos. On page 1 of the agenda, it shows that there is a closed session and it starts at 6 p.m. and goes to 7 p.m. You can access the regular meeting by teleconference on number 605-468 8002, access code number 156811. The meeting will be streamed live on YouTube. If you choose to attend the council meeting in person, you'll need to maintain social distancing. Seating is limited, and everyone needs to wear a face covering. On page 2 of the agenda packet, under closed session, we see performance evaluation for the city manager, performance evaluation for the city attorney, labor negotiation for the city manager, and conference with legal counsel, potential litigation, significant exposure to litigation, government code section 54956.9 D2. If we go to the California Legislative Information page and scan down a little bit until we find D, we find D2 is a point has been reached where, in the opinion of the legislative body of the local agency on the advice of its legal counsel, based on existing facts and circumstances, there is a significant exposure to litigation against the local agency. In other words, there might be rumors or talk out there of a lawsuit, but the lawsuit hasn't been filed yet. So what this tells me off the bat is it looks like a couple of people might be thinking about suing the city, but it hasn't gotten to the actual litigation part yet. Oftentimes what I've seen over the years is that it starts out with a claim for damages against the city and then goes from there. On page 3, we have the call to order and announcements and reports. We also have citizens' comments and the consent agenda, where we see a warrant register, the minutes of meeting held on June 16th, 2020, and a denial of claim for damages. Since we've got a claim for damages on the consent agenda, let's read the description of what a consent agenda is. It says, items on the consent calendar are considered routine or non-controversial and will be enacted by one vote unless separate action is requested by the city manager or city council member. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless members of the city council or city manager requests that specific items be removed. Now, be removed can mean be taken off and postponed to a future council meeting. It could also mean be removed for separate discussion. While we're here, a denial of claim for damages doesn't mean no, you're not getting any money if you've got a legitimate claim. What it means is, no, we're not going to take any money out of the general fund to pay this claim. You need to take it up with our insurance. On page 4, we have a resolution for the annual local transportation fund claim, meaning the city's going to get some money. The resolution for a regional surface transportation program estimated exchange fund claim form, which also means more money for the city. And then also a resolution approving the Measure V regional funding agreement, meaning what are they going to spend that Measure V regional funding money on. The warrant register starts on page 5 of the agenda packet. You can find the June 16th, 2020 meeting minutes in writing starting on page 35. The claim for damages against the city starts on page 49. The local transportation fund claim is on page 57. The city will be getting about $15,000, which it will combine with prior year's claims and spend it on the Winton Parkway project. Page 62 is the Regional Surface Transportation Program claim. The city will receive over $263,000 and will spend $200,000 of it on Winton Parkway and about $63,000 on the improvements to the roundabout. On page 67 is the staff report for the Measure V regional project. The city will be using $1 million of Measure V funds to use towards improvements to the Hammett-Campbell intersection. The denial of claim for damages starts on page 49 of the agenda packet. Staff recommends that the City Council deny the claim for damages, submit the claim to AIMS, the city's insurance adjusters, for review and processing, and direct staff to send a letter to the claimant advising of the city's denial of the claim. Under background, the city received a claim alleging that a resident damaged his vehicle while backing out of his driveway. The claimant alleged that his driveway was out of code. The resident alleges that the driveway was about 14 feet and some inches, which is less than 18 feet per city regulations. The claimant also advised that he was unable to back out of his driveway without falling off the sidewalk. According to photos supplied by the resident in the claim, this is what the problem is. And this is what he wants done, redoing the driveway to the sidewalk area along the dashed blue lines. A summary of his allegations and reasoning is, he bought a house with a driveway that does not meet code. It is the city's fault the driveway does not meet code. Because the driveway doesn't meet code, he is unable to back out of his driveway without falling off the sidewalk. Because he fell off the sidewalk, he hit the curb and damaged his vehicle. Because it's the city's fault he fell off the sidewalk and damaged his vehicle, the city should fix both the driveway and his car. He also alleges that neighbors had similar problems too, and they got their problems fixed by the city as political favors during an election cycle. Therefore, he believes it's only fair the city fixes his problem too. Now, the papers in the claim don't say when the other neighbor's driveway or sidewalk was fixed, so I can't say who was in charge at the time and who allegedly got the other driveways fixed as a political favor. Now, I'm not an engineer or a building inspector, but when I look at this photo, this is what I see. I see a standard two-car garage with a curved driveway. I see a car resting on concrete with the orange X that looks like it was added on to the side of the original driveway. I see where you ought to be able to back straight out until you hit where I drew the pink line, and then you'd have to spin the wheel to make the curve and back out the driveway. I see where you ought to be able to follow the path of the green lines without hitting a curb. So what I'm seeing here is a two-car garage with a two-car driveway. I was curious to see whether or not the house was indeed built with a two-car garage, so I looked it up on Bing and a few other places. But when I looked up the address on multiple websites, some of the photos were different than what was included in the claim. Although one of the sites did verify that the two-car garage was indeed a two-car garage. It also showed an additional strip of concrete had been added along the right side of the driveway. And in another photo I obtained, it looks like the house had been repainted and there were 3 cars in the driveway, which to me looks like a whole different perspective than the photos included from Google Maps. Back to a photo that had been included in the claim, the red arrows added here show how he wants the city to fix the path of travel to the street. I could be wrong. I'm not an engineer and I'm not a code enforcer, but it sure looks like someone wants to turn a 2-car driveway into a 3-car driveway. And I guess we'll have to keep an eye on this to see how the insurance investigation turns out. If you're subscribed to the channel already, you might want to check and make sure you're still subscribed so you're notified whenever a new video goes live. And subscribe if you're new. Until next time, this is the gardening snail of Livingston, California, because not every critter is hiding under a rock.